Alright, so we're at about 101 yards is where I got the 8-inch plate set up. You may have noticed something different. This is the third video using the same setup, except one thing that I changed out. As I mentioned in the previous video, I'll cover that here in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and shoot some shots on the plate for you. Well, that's it. It's stacking them down there. Woo! Let's go down there and check it out. Well, here we go. As you can see, that group right there was just stacking them. Less than an inch group. Easy. Over 100 yards, about 101 yards. And the scope was on 6 power. So I'll take it. Woohoo! So I'm back down here at the bench now. And I just showed you what this gun's capable of. And obviously in the last video I told you I put a riser on it and I put it on top of the factory scope rail, which put my scope height 3 inches. The scope I was running before was a 6 power first focal plane, shooting a CCI standard velocity 40 grain lead round nose, running the Archangel stock with the UTG bipod, 18-inch Adams and Bennett barrel with weight on the end. Running an Arius 6 power scope first focal plane. That group could probably be just a hair tighter if it wasn't for the reticle being so bold and blocking out my view of that 8-inch plate. So this is what I'm dealing with. That 8-inch plate is not very big in this 6 power scope, so around a 1-inch group is definitely really good when the lines of the reticle are really bold. The reticle was so bold that it just blocked out my view down there, and I put a second focal plane, really fine reticle on here, and it shoots lights out. Obviously, that group down there is not the first one I got. When I put the scope on the other day and zeroed it in, it was shooting the same. So I got some targets set up down there. Let's see what happens. Oh, and I'm shooting with the scope on 6 power too, believe it or not. As you can see, the scope is on 6 power. So that just shows right there that, it's not the scope power, it's how clear or how fine the reticle is, in my opinion, that makes the gun and you more accurate. Ooh. This all wasn't planned, I promise you. But anyways, this gun is so freaking accurate the way it's set up right now that when the bullet was coming back down to hit the spinners, it was clipping the crossmember bar right before the spinner, as you could see, almost every shot. And then lastly, you can see me here hitting this card. Well, I hit one playing card down there after I was goofing around, after I knocked my spinner set down. Let's see if I can hit some more spinners. They don't fall over. Remember, I'm at 6x too on the scope. Uh-oh. Well guys, got to hit some playing cards at 100 with the scope at 6 power. Hit some spinners back to back down there. Got it to group really good. You know, because of the series of videos I'm doing, I was showing you from what you probably were getting to what you can get, not changing hardly anything out except the scope. Again, that's for me to shoot better, not so much the rifle. But it did tighten up my groups significantly from a little over an inch to below an inch. Multiple shot groups, not just a couple shots, 5 to 7 shot groups, and hitting spinners easy down there on 6 power, hitting cards multiple times at 100 yards through this scope because of the reticle being so thin and crisp and clear. You know, it's just a good scope. It's the one leaf 3 to 12 by 56, and I use this scope a lot for my long range shooting because the reticle is so fine. But again, I wanted to leave it on the 6 power just to show you that the power is not significant. It's how clear the scope is, or how fine the crosshair is of the scope. As you can see how crystal clear and fine that reticle is in this scope being at 6 power. I'm always up for a challenge, but that being that fine of a crosshair definitely helps with getting tight groups on target and shooting smaller targets, as you can see. So this scope is pretty awesome for what it is. And again, I didn't change the power. I left it on the same power, just swapped it over from a first focal plane with a bold reticle. And this fine crosshair really helped out. And obviously in the past videos, I shared with you the trajectory and how the scope height helps with tuning in the ammo, and you've seen it here how good this gun shoots from what it was shooting to now. And you know, from 2.5 inches to below an inch, I think around a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch now, all the time at 100 yards, that's pretty good for a 22 LR. So about 4 times more accuracy out of it by increasing the bore height of the scope and changing the scope out to a finer reticle, and that's all I did. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys on the next one. As always,